let's hit it.
And welcome to Alzheimer's Speaks Radio. I'm your host, Lori LeBay, and I'm so excited that you're joining us today. We are going to have a fascinating conversation as usual as we learn from people all around the world at all ages and stages of life. Stay tuned as we shift our dementia care from crisis to comfort.
All right, here we go. What you think about, you will bring about.
Well, hi, everyone, and welcome back to Alzheimer's Speaks Radio. I'm your host, Lori LeBay, and I'm so glad you can join us. We are live today, so you can always call in on our live shows. That number is 323-870-4602. That's 323-870-4602. And we're going to be talking about really kind of an exciting new event that is happening across the country right now. But like normal, I'm just going to do a couple of shout-outs. Welcome our newbies to the show who haven't heard us before. Alzheimer's Speaks was created because my own mother lived with the disease for 30 years, and I know what it's like to feel frustrated and isolated and uneducated, and that's our goal, is to raise all voices and connect you to services, products, and tools. If you liked our opening song, it's called Clarion Call by the Mark Arneson Band, who's a local band here in Minnesota. But you can go ahead and download that on any of your favorite music platforms if you like. They would be thrilled to do that. I do want to mention a couple of events that I'll be doing. And, to get to my public events, you can always go to alzheimersspeaks.com, then go to our free educational resources page, and then from there find the graphic that says public events. And so tonight, Artist Senior Living is sponsoring a webinar I'm doing called Realities of Dementia, Family-Friendly Tips and Tools, and that is going to start at 6:30 Eastern, so that would be 5:30 Central, 4:30 Mountain Time, and 3:30 Pacific Time. And you can still register by going to the artist, and that's ARTIS way.com/webinar. Now, if you go to that sector on public events on my site, you will also find, if you are in Minnesota and in the Minnetonka area, on Halloween, October 31st from 1 to 3, I'm going to be doing a screening with their Dementia Friends of Minnetonka. And that'll be 1 to 3, October 31st, and that's going to be the film A Timeless Love, which is just absolutely an incredible, incredible film. And then on November 11th, I will be doing a webinar as well called Living with Dementia. That's going to be kind of more of a Q&A, sponsored by Volunteering for Seniors. And then again, if you're in Minnesota on December 8th, and I don't even have this one in the public events yet, but we are going to be doing a program called Family Gatherings, Events, and Travel, Replacing Difficult Times with Joy. And, with all the holidays coming up, I think that is so very, very important. And then, of course, we have a couple of support groups. Arthur's Memory Cafe that meets the second and fourth Wednesday of each month from 1 to 3 Central Time. Anyone is welcome to join us. And then if you are in the Shoreview area of Minnesota, we do a Caregiver Connect that meets once a month. That's the last Wednesday of the month at 10 a.m. at the Shoreview Community Center. That is sponsored by Brookdale North Oaks. And there's also respite care for your loved ones there. Last, I'll just give a shout out to Dementia Map, and then also to Saltbox TV if you want to go check out both of those. Saltbox is a free online streaming service that has not only old movies and films, but it has a lot of great educational and entertainment events on there as well. And then Dementia Map, of course, is our global resource directory with over 150 categories that you can search. has a great blog, also highlights free and paid for events, and has a glossary of terms. So with that, we're just going to jump right into the show today. We are going to be talking about how is it possible to live safer and easier at home and really be able to age in place. And we have a couple of experts with us here today. We're going to be talking with Cindy and Christina Harden-Weiss, who are both licensed rehab therapists, and they are also the founders of an amazing company called Adaptive Equipment and Caregiving Corner, known as AEC Corner. And what they do is they educate seniors on how to live safely and age in place, while also assisting their family care partners on techniques on how to care for them safely, because that can be a really difficult situation. So welcome, Christine and Cindy. How are you today?
We are doing well. Thanks for having us, Lori. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Well, good. Whereabouts are you guys on the road right now?
We are in New Jersey. We just had a presentation that we gave at North Brunswick Senior Center in New Jersey. And so we just finished that up this morning, and we're excited to be here to talk to you guys about it.
Yeah. Wonderful. Now, we also have another person with us, and her name is Diane Vitillo, and she is actually an inventor of the AFO Assist, and she is the founder of Home Heart Beats. And so, Diane, I'm excited to learn more about what you are dealing with, what you've invented. I don't really know what that is, but we're going to first dive in with Cindy and Christina and hear a little bit about their tour, who they are, but for sure we are not going to want to miss your piece as well, because that's going to be important for people to know too. So thank you, Diane, for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
So I always start out, and this might seem a little silly, but I find it fascinating to find out if individuals have actually been touched by dementia in their own family or circle of friends. So, Christina, if you don't mind taking that one first, and then Cindy, and then we'll swap over to Diane.
Yeah, that sounds great. So I am a speech therapist by training. I have not had any personal, my life has not been affected personally by dementia, but as a professional caregiver and a speech therapist on top of that, one of my specialties that I deal with is cognition therapy and stuff. So yeah, I have dealt with it in my practice quite a bit, and it's one of my favorite things that I do in speech therapy is helping people with dementia and their family caregivers give safe care and give appropriate care that the loved one and the caregiver themselves.
Great. And
yes,
Cindy,
go
ahead, Cindy.
Oh, I was just saying, yes, that's kind of along my same path. I have not dealt with it as a personal caregiver as far as my family is concerned, but have certainly done that in my career with home health and in rehab situations as well.
Okay, great. And Diane, how about you? Have you been touched in your own family or circle of friends?
Yes, I have actually, and unfortunately my mom had Alzheimer's, and she passed at a relatively young age in her early 70s, and my sister had Lewy body dementia, and I was often provided respite care for her family. So yes, it was it's a difficult road to take. We all had a lot to learn by the experience. And as an occupational therapist, I used some of the training that I had to help deal not only with my sister and my mom, but to deal with my own emotions. So, anyone that's dealing personally with this horrible disease, don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help.
Exactly. And it is interesting. I always find when people are touched by it, they're like, oh, I really have a different insight now than what I talked before. When you've actually, and that can be, someone personal that you're caring for, or through your work. You just see it through a different lens once you've actually had that experience. So I really want to talk about this safety function and movement tour that Christina and Cindy are on with their company. How did that come to fruition, and what the heck are you doing out there?
Well, it kind of came to fruition. We were initially going to take a vacation out to Maine, and we checked airline tickets, and it was like, wow. And so presentations are something that we do in our local area. So we started talking about it and thinking, hey, let's just do that. Let's drive and let's start seeing if there are areas that can let us come and give a free presentation. This is Fall Prevention Awareness Month for therapists, and that's one of our big pushes is fall prevention in the home. And with safety function and movement, there are things. People feel like, or a lot of people think that as we age, falls are inevitable, and that's not necessarily the case. Our fall risk does increase because our bodies change, but there are a lot of things that we can do to help reduce that fall risk and prevent falls. So the safety function and movement came about because those are three areas that we can affect as far as trying to adjust as we age and help reduce our fall risk.
Wonderful. Now, as far as your company as a whole, the Adaptive Equipment and Caregiving Corner, how did that get started, and what can people expect from that service? And then we'll jump back into your road trip there. But I kind of popped over that question. I should have started at the basics there.
No. Yeah, no, that's fine. So Cindy and I are again, our therapists, and we were driving home one time from Christmas, visiting my mom at Christmas time. And we were both in home health at the time, and we thought, you know what, you just take kind of the same frequently asked questions that you get in home health. And so we thought, wouldn't it be interesting because at that time we were in the process of switching over to electronic documentation. And so we were bringing in a laptop or a tablet with us while we were doing our evaluations. And so we thought, wouldn't it be interesting if we could just kind of record ourselves saying the educational piece, which was part of what we do, the educational part to it, if we could record that and then just put it on a YouTube channel and then pop that video on for the family caregivers and our patient, and then while we're doing paperwork or documentation, they could watch that, and then at the end we could answer questions, and maybe that would, have something that would stick with them, and then they would have access to it even after we left. Because that's usually when people have questions is when we leave. So so they have access to that. So we started doing that in 2018. In 2020, we had developed a premium platform, a video platform that we kind of store all the premium videos on, and we sell subscriptions to all those videos. But we also have videos still out on our YouTube channel. So in 2020, we went live with the premium videos, and we just it's kind of evolved into now that we can get out a little bit more into the education part of it and doing the presentations. And in our YouTube channel, we found that a lot of these companies, like Diane's company with the AFO Assist, they send us their products. We do a product review video and show our viewers how to use the product safely. I mean, because everybody has access to most of this product. And some of these products, when you get it, if you don't know how to use it correctly, that could increase your risk for injury. So we started doing that. And then we just we thought, you know what, let's see about taking this now that we can get out a little bit more. Let's take some of this equipment with us and help, because a lot of people haven't been out and about very much. And so let's let people engage with the equipment and then ask us questions about their specific situation, kind of ask the expert after the presentation. And so, yeah, that's kind of what we did. And that's what it was real successful. It's been success in our area. So we thought, let's take it on the road. So, yeah, we're really super excited about it. So we've got a website that we refer people to. It's aecorner.com, and that's where we house most of our demo videos for the products. So we don't sell the products, Lori. We just show people how to use it safely. So.
Well, and that's usually the biggest piece that's missing is you get it and then you go, okay, now what?
That's right. Yeah.
And so I think that's just a critical piece. And for me, I'm a visual learner. So to be able to see a video versus trying to read this step-by-step directions. It doesn't say,
Right.
well, this might happen too, or you might have an extra screw, or whatever.
Yeah.
Match the male with the female end, and if you're not real, tech savvy, you don't know what that means in terms of, or I should say, tool savvy. You don't know what the heck that means, when you're assembling stuff, and pictures aren't always great depending on how they're done up. So I just highly recommend your site. I think it is so informative. The other thing go ahead.
Yeah, this is Diane. I just wanted to mention how important their site is, because many, especially in the aging population, when they go for a hip replacement or a knee replacement, they seldom have therapy services afterwards, but the therapist will send them home with a cane or a walker or a tub bench, but don't teach them how to use it. So now these people can easily go on to the AEC website and learn from the best people available to teach them. So it's just such a great channel to tune into.
Thank you.
Agree.
Thanks, Diane. We appreciate that. Yeah.
Well, because a lot of times you go to these places where they sell something, and it's a salesperson on the floor. It's not. It's not an occupational therapist. It's not anybody really involved in rehab. They're there to sell units, or even worst case, it gets shipped to your house, which you think sounds great, but then you open up the box and again you go, now what?
Sure.
How do I use this? When do I use it? All of those types of things, and so I think that is really, really important.
Yeah, Lori, we try to keep our videos short. We know we are aware of caregivers' time, and so we try to keep those how-to videos under 5 minutes if possible, depending on the product or whatever. But we even have some of our caregiver quick tips we put on TikTok. We've even started a TikTok channel so that we could reach even more caregivers too, and we try to keep it around a minute because we lose people after a minute. So,
well, that's fabulous. So that you guys are really social media savvy. So you're tapping into all different generations and what they use. And Diane, I liked when you had mentioned the hips and the knee replacements and stuff, but it gets into incontinence or how to eat or sleeping, safety. I mean, there's so many things when we care for somebody that overlap. So, this isn't just about dementia, even though, our show is Alzheimer's Speaks. We have so many overlaps in our world, and we must never, ever forget that.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
And a lot of these tools, not only can they help the person you're caring for, but they can increase your safety as a care partner, so you're not throwing out your back, or you're maybe not slipping in urine, or you're not just being so exhausted because of whatever it is you have to do. It's about making life smoother, more accessible, having quality life for everybody there.
For everybody, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. So again, their site is AEC. It's AE and then corner.com. I'll say it that way. Otherwise, we'll get two C's in there. So let's talk a little bit about when did you get on the road, and kind of what's your tour plan? Whereabouts are you right now, and when will you be back home again?
Yeah, so we started out and gave our first presentation in Columbus, Ohio, and then we were over here this morning in North Brunswick.
So we started off in O'Fallon.
Oh, yes, we did start off in our hometown, yes, on Friday with the kickoff there. And then on Thursday, we have a presentation in New Holland, Pennsylvania, at Garden Spot Village. Pretty big retirement living community. And then we've got several things that we're doing kind of in the New Jersey area next week. We have an online DME company that we work with, a father and son's company out of Naples, Florida. We've known them for years. Very good. They're a fairly big company, but they're a very down-to-earth company. It's called Vive Health. We're going to stop by one of their warehouses, and some of their return items that they can't resell, we're going to pick some of those up and then take them to the Goodwill Medical Home Medical Supply Store in where's
Bryn
that?
Mawr, New Jersey.
Bryn Mawr, New Jersey. So they are like kind of a lending closet that's low cost medical equipment. So we're going to drop some equipment off to them.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see, we have a couple other stops. I think.
Yeah.
What Umbers is in
Camp Hill, Pennsylvania.
Camp Hill, Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're just kind of buzzing around this area, Pennsylvania, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm. Trying to raise awareness, and besides not selling the equipment, Lori, we're trying to raise people's awareness of their area agency on aging. If you're not familiar with where your area agency on aging is, you need to try to get on Google at eldercare.acl.gov and type in your city or your state or your zip code and find who your local area agency on aging is. That's a great resource. It's usually a network of not-for-profit organizations, and they're a great resource for caregivers, for family caregivers, for seniors, for people with disabilities, and veterans. And if you aren't familiar with who yours is, you need to look them up. Another organization that we try to raise awareness because we don't sell the equipment, and a lot of the equipment we do highlight is not covered by insurance. We try to raise people's awareness of a local lending closet, so a health equipment lending closet or program. What the communities will do sometimes is they will collect gently used adaptive equipment, refurbish it, and then turn around and give it at low or no cost to members of their community. If they can't refurbish it, they will recycle it, thereby keeping it out of the landfill, and then they will take the recycle money and put it back in their not-for-profit. So we're trying to raise people's awareness of both of those organizations. They're really great resources for everybody.
Yeah, especially with – oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I know you have a link on your site for the lending closet. Do you have one for AAA?
Yeah. So if you go to eldercare.acl.gov.
Okay.
We don't have that on our website.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure people knew how to get to those. I think the lending classes are fantastic because I hear people asking all the time, and I'll usually say, try the VFW or the Legion.
Yes.
Sometimes they will have, literally a closet, in their area, and people just drop off and pick up as they need and stuff.
Or ask your neighbor. I don't mean to interrupt there, Lori, but wait, I live in a 55 and over community, and as an occupational therapist, having worked in rehab for over 30 years, I have a lot of product that I keep in my attic. And anyone in our community knows that they can call me if they need. So we just had someone that had foot surgery. So they needed a 3-in-1 commode. They needed a tub bench. They needed a walker, and they needed a transport wheelchair.
Wow.
So check with your neighborhood. Check with your neighbors to see if they have anything that you could borrow. But then go to Christina and Cindy's website to make sure you know how to use it. So it's like a win-win situation. Yeah.
That would actually be nice to see in more of the community livings, especially the larger ones, to be able to have that flexibility, because their people need stuff like that constantly, and they don't necessarily want to store it. They don't have room,
right?
They're more than glad to pass it on to somebody else. It keeps everybody's costs down all around. And then you have some hands-on people that know how to use it too, if they need that extra too.
Right. Exactly. You might live next door to an OT or a PT.
That's right.
Wonderful. Well, Diane, let's talk about the two things that you do. So you invented something. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about what exactly AFO Assist is, and then we'll get into the home heartbeats.
Okay. So I am an occupational therapist. I'm also a physical therapist assistant, and I've worked in the rehab profession for almost 30 years. Many of my clients were stroke survivors, and many, or probably most of them, needed to wear a foot brace because as a result of their stroke, they had foot drop. So they needed to wear a particular brace called an ankle-foot orthotic. Those where you get the initials, AFO. Mm-hmm. So they needed to wear an AFO to safely stand and walk. But the problem was many of the stroke survivors had hemiplegia, meaning only one side of their body was working now. So they needed to be able to manipulate a brace, their foot, their arm. So they had this intrinsic need for something to help them hold the brace so they could safely put it on. So I invented it. I invented the brace. I believe it's the world's first AFO. We call it the original AFO Assist. And I believe it's the world's first product that helps not only stroke survivors, but people with other neurological conditions such as cerebral palsy, multiple sclerosis, many, many diseases, which I won't go into. So it has helped a lot of people step back into life.
Is that something that would be helpful for people with Parkinson's? And I know a lot would depend on, where they are in the progression. Okay.
No, it's really to wear the need to wear an ankle-foot orthotic is to prevent foot drop, and that's where control. When you take a step, normally when you take a step, your toes point up in the air. As you take a step with foot drop, your toes don't point, and you have a tendency now to trip as you move forward. So it's basically anyone that needs to wear a foot brace to safely walk. Those are the people that would benefit from our product.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask one more silly question because I'm probably like the majority of my audience, and we hear little bits and pieces, but we don't know how they all apply. What about I've heard a lot of people with MS kind of will drag a foot and not pick up. Yes. Would that be appropriate for them then?
Yes, and I have a lot of MS patients have used our product. And multiple sclerosis, obviously, it's going to affect everyone differently, but many have weakness in their lower body, in their legs and their feet. So yes, wearing an ankle-foot orthotic does help them with their ambulation, and yes, they could benefit from our product.
Okay, great. And then what is home heartbeats?
So the other part of my job is I do home assessments for people that want to safely age in place. So let's say, for example, you love to take a tub bath, but now you can't because you can't step over the tub safely. So I go in and I do a home modification assessment, and I assess every room in your home, actually inside and outside of your home. If you like to work in the garden or you have a swimming pool, I assess everything in the home to make sure that you have no environmental barriers that could be preventing you from safely doing everything that you love to do every day. So that's what Home Heartbeats does. Yeah.
Well, that's a wonderful, wonderful service for sure. Many people, I think, are very interested in that. So I just went to your website. I saw your smiling face on there because I didn't know what it looked like from here on the radio.
That's me. Yep.
But
yeah, and I'm a New Jersey-based company, so I'm in New Jersey.
Okay, great. Well, what I like about all of your websites is they're really easy to maneuver, really finely designed, so it's not overwhelming when you go to any of them. So that to me is just a huge, huge plus in and of itself. I'm just going to do a shout out again to our audience. If there's anybody out there that wants to call in and has a question, or maybe you would like Cindy and Christina to come out and do a tour in yours, feel free to call in. Or maybe you attended one of their programs, 232-870-4602. That's 232-870-4602. I'm going to go back to Christina and Cindy again. Can you tell us, as far as what has been the response to both the community members in the audience as well as the sponsors that have pulled you in to your event so far?
I think it's been good. I think we've had varying numbers. We've been in varying settings, but I'll tell you, it's been interesting each time.
Mm-hmm.
We love talking to people, hearing their experiences. There's so many caregivers out there and individuals that are trying to adapt and adjust as they age. And, we certainly don't know everything, and you learn so much just from engaging with people. And, that's our big push too, is no one knows everything, and we all learn from each other, but we have to network, and we have to share, and we have to do that together as caregivers. That's been the best part for me, is just engaging with the people. Some of the products that we have, I just love when, we've got a product from Magna Ready, which is a magnetic closure on shirts and things like that for men and women. And when we show that, you hear this, all these oohs and ahs, because people didn't know about it. And that's part of what Adaptive Equipment and Caregiving Corner is about, is we believe in, as a small business, lifting other small businesses up. And, a lot of these people that we do product reviews on, they're small companies. They are caregivers that made these products out of necessity. And no one will know, we're doing our best to get them out there because we want people to know about them because they're so good. I mean, it just helps. There's somebody out there that is going to help.
That's my favorite part, is hearing because a lot of the products that we do are from caregivers, or invented by caregivers themselves, and the backstory that comes along with why they invented it. To me, that's my favorite part about what we do, and making people aware of it, because to me it reaches out to the caregiver and to the individual and let them know you're not alone. You're not the first person to go through this. Somebody else has gone through this, and they have developed this product to try to make your job easier going forward.
Absolutely.
Very much so. I know you have like the football walker as a video.
Yes.
And I love that story. This couple has been married over 60 years, and she doesn't want to have to place her husband, and, dignity is kind of slid. They're both getting, hurt and sore from assisting.
Yeah.
And here their friends developed this football walker, and it's safer for both of them. She was able to keep him home 4 more years, and like she said, saved almost $200,000 by just that one little piece of equipment, and preserve their marriage and their relationship.
Lori,
which is so beautiful.
I have to share this story. We were doing a presentation for the St. Louis chapter of the American Parkinson Disease Association, the APDA, and we do part of the football walker. We bring that and we show people how to use it, and then we give them the opportunity afterwards to come up and to engage with the football walker as well. I had a guy that came up, and it was just him, and he came up and he got to pull himself up using the football walker, and then right as he was standing up, his wife came up right next to him, and he stood up straight up, and he shed a tear. I could see a tear rolling down his cheek. And his wife reached over and touched him on the arm, and she said he hasn't been able to stand up like this probably in 5 years by himself.
Wow.
And so it was just all I could do to not cry with him. So
I'm getting teary as you're talking about it. Yeah, I mean, these are big moments, making life easier and bringing back so many things that we just take for granted until something hits us, and then you just feel so lost and incapacitated and not able, and you hear all the words that we shouldn't be listening to, and you guys really look at abilities and how to adapt, and how to get your life back and full again.
Changing life to make it better for everybody. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's rewarding.
Yes.
So I have a question about your road trip. Are you planning on doing more in the future? I just think this sounds like such a cool idea.
We are planning on, we wanted to see how this one went. We really had a good feeling about it, and our feeling is coming true. It's really going well. We're enjoying it. We do plan on trying to do more of these. it's just a matter of kind of seeing where we're at and where we go next. But yeah, we are certainly planning on trying to go different directions, maybe a couple of times a year and doing some of these.
Yeah, and if anybody has an interest, I mean, setting up this first one was more of a just kind of shooting in the dark, really, to find these facilities and these senior living communities and the senior centers that would want us to come give a free presentation. So if anybody is aware of any life enrichment directors or any senior living communities that would like us to, come to their community and give a presentation, we could certainly plan that. We'd like to do a few more next year for sure, and maybe head down south and, head up north and certainly out west and stuff. So we could see doing, a whole lot more next year, hopefully. So
yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I could see, larger communities, especially just doing a tour throughout their communities. And, sometimes communities are fairly close. A few of them could double up even on that. But this would just be something I think that would be, when you help families, you help staff as well.
Right.
You get everybody on the same page. And, even like with Dementia Map, so many people think, well, I know what's available. And then they're like, oh, I didn't. Because none of us can know, because there's always new stuff coming online. And,
That's right.
And it's created or it's marketed in a different way that gets your attention. And I think that's a really, really an important factor to never, ever underestimate. That, life should be getting easier. We all should be pitching in and not being afraid to share our ideas, because that's how the world improves. That's kind of how we've ticked along all this time. Now, if companies are interested in doing a tour, should they just go to your website, or is it okay for them to contact you through social media? I know you have Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. You're on LinkedIn. Or do you just prefer people to go to your aecorner.com website and communicate with you there?
Any of it, Lori. We try to monitor all of it and respond to anybody that reaches out. We encourage, everybody. Not everybody's a Facebook person. They might be more of an Instagram person, or or YouTube or whatever. So whatever's comfortable for them, we encourage them to reach out. If they want to reach out to us on our contact page on our website, we would encourage them to do that as well. We've got our office phone number on there that if they want to call us, they could certainly do that. So any of that we monitor all of that. So
yeah, and we were going to let you know if any of your listeners are in the Indianapolis area, we are going to be in Indianapolis on November 5th. A company, caregiving.com, is putting on a family caregiver and senior resource conference. Yes. It's one day. It's on a Saturday, November 5th. We're going to be there. We would love to meet anybody that wants to come by. We're going to have our stuff with us, and so
combine say hey Sin.
Yeah, combine say hey Sin.
Yeah, it's at the Indiana State Fairgrounds in Indianapolis.
Yep.
Oh, wonderful. Well, and that's a fairly large conference too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That they put on. So that would be wonderful. And what was the date again? November what?
November 5th. It's a Saturday.
Yes. Good thing I asked, because I was thinking the 11th.
They're working to make that. I think they're working to make that free for the caregivers.
For the caregivers and the seniors, Yep, it's free to register.
Yep.
Yep. Oh, fantastic, fantastic. And then, Diane, how about you? How can people get a hold of you?
Well, I'm in New Jersey, so probably your listeners, I'm a little too far
they're
for
all,
my
they're
home
all
lodge,
over.
but certainly, that's true. So if they're interested in my product, I have a video of my product. The website is afoassist.com. And it will explain to them why I invented the product, and it'll show a video on how it works. And if you're interested, you could order one online.
Okay, great. And then your home heartbeats, if they are in your area in New Jersey and wanted some help on how to, safely age in their house, get an assessment, they would just go to that website as well then?
Well, yes, in New Jersey, yes, you can just go onto my website, homeheartbeats.com, and leave me a message via the website or give me a call. My business number is on my webpage.
Okay, great. Christina and Cindy, anything that we didn't cover that we should have?
I wanted to say, this is Cindy, I wanted to say one thing just because this was a real eye-opener for me. We deal in adaptive equipment, but part of what we talk about is incontinence products. And the reason, people look at us kind of strange and they're like, why are we talking about this with adaptive equipment? But part of what adaptive equipment does is it improves function and safety. And incontinence is a huge part of safety, like you mentioned earlier, Lori. But the thing is with Cine, and, we have a lot of companies that contact us to try to review their product and things like that. And it's not something that we want to expound on. The reason that we like the Cine products that we take a look at is, first of all, we trialed them. We trialed the products. I trialed them overnight. I trialed them while I was exercising and when we were out in public. And talk about an eye-opener as far as not being incontinent myself and trying to understand what my clients go through, what friends and family go through, those people that are incontinent, about, am I going to wake up overnight and be wet? Or is somebody going to know that I have this product on out in the community? Or am I going to leak in the community? Mm-hmm. It was a real eye-opener in regards to the education behind the product. And wow, so I've turned a big advocate for incontinence for the Cine product particularly, just because you have to have the right style, you've got to have the right absorbency, and you've got to have the right size. And if you don't have that and you have leaking, imagine what that does to a caregiver that has a loved one that is leaking more than they should, and they have to help them change. Or imagine, the person that is incontinent, the dignity issues. Mm-hmm. And if you can take care of that to any little degree, if not a big degree, what a difference and what a change that can make in people's lives.
And they have a great free sample program as well.
Yeah.
Sure. So it cuts down on the social isolation that people would experience if they do have incontinence problems. Yeah.
Uh-huh. I had
a real eye.
Yeah, I had Cine on the radio show, and they had various home care companies talking about their experiences. And it was a huge, not just for family and the person with it, but for staffing. It changed what their job looked like. And, in this area where we are having severe staffing issues, if we can change that environment to make it better for everyone. Another woman called in and said, her daughter has dementia, and she always wanted to go to Disney, and she's like, I don't think we can go because the incontinence was just increasing. And they got their free sample, which I think is really nice that they allow them to do too, and gave them the education, and she woke up dry, and she said the look on her daughter's face was unbelievable because she was dry. It changed her whole day. Her mom didn't have to start out getting her in the shower, changing the sheets, cleaning the floor. I mean, that's a lot off your plate, and really is so critical. And I think you had mentioned earlier, too, slips and falls, it's Fall Prevention Awareness Month and stuff. And people might be shocked how many people slip in their own urine. This is not an uncommon problem at all. No. And it's avoidable. It's avoidable.
Yeah, that's true.
And so that's what I love about what you guys do. I do have to mention, when you mentioned the magnet clothes, and then I thought, another product you guys should probably have on there, and this is an accessory item, but is the magnets for jewelry. Women still like to wear their necklaces, but their fine motor can't do. And I'm 63. I'm feeling it a little bit more now. My eyes aren't as good. My fingers aren't as nimble. All of those for the magnets for the jewelry to put your necklace on. Just because it's a dignity issue. It's being able to follow that routine that you've always had. Emulate the, kind of your own character and that stuff's all really important. And I don't think it's highlighted near as much as it needs to be. And when we allow people that dignity and to feel purposeful and to feel connected, we're going to get rid of loneliness and depression, or at least decrease it. Right. We're going to increase socialization. All of those things are huge benefits, and I just think I think the work that you're doing is fabulous. So keep it up and don't give up. It's really, really needed. So thank you all for joining us today. Any other last comments before we wrap up?
We appreciate it. It's a little silly comment, Lori, about the jewelry issue. I'm sitting in a parking lot during this phone call, and I'm looking at Michael's store. The craft store. I would bet 100% that Michael sells a magnetic closure that you can add to your jewelry. That's the occupational therapist in me just thinking of that, because that's what OTs do for their patients. So they find out what problems their patients are having, and they come up with a solution. So check your Michael store.
Leave it to the OT.
Christina or Cindy, anything else you wanted to add?
No, I think that's it. We appreciate you having us, Lori. We really do.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, Lori, for inviting me too.
I'm thrilled you guys could make time when you're out on the road like this. So this is fun, and I always learn something. And I would encourage people to like, click, and share this. Maybe bring the road show to your community. If not, you can always go check out the websites. They're there for you, and have a conversation. Meantime, have a blessed week. This Thursday we're going to be doing open mic, so feel free to join in, share your dementia stories, tools, products, needs, concerns. Anything is open as long as it's a respectful conversation. Talk soon, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, Jared Sebestier, host of Retire Repurposed. This podcast is dedicated to help people transition into fulfilling and purposeful retirements. Retirement is a big life change. In fact, the two most dangerous years of a person's life are the year they were born and the year they retire. Few people could just flip the switch from working a career 30 or 40 plus years, retiring on Friday without methodical steps to living what we call a repurposed retirement. To listen now, search Retire Repurposed on your favorite podcast platform, Senior Resource, or Life Audio.